Welcome once again to Postcard from Marbella. And of course, we've got the delightful, delectable Maurice Boland. I can read this script. He writes my scripts, so I have to stick to it. Welcome, Maurice.
You forgot handsome. I'm sorry to tell you.
No, I know.
Important word. I told you to do it. Anyway, yes.
Not often I'm stuck for words, Maurice, but there you go. Tell me, because Spain is changing. What way is it changing?
Well, with Spain, I'm talking, an overall picture, of course, of Spain is that we have been released. When I say we've been released, a certain amount of unskilled workers have been allowed to return to work. Now, I don't know what that amount is, but even you think there's 60 million people here, and let's say we can say maybe 5 million have gone back to work. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating there, nothing like that. And we shall see the result of that. I think it might be slightly early, but we shall see the results of that in about 2 weeks, because that's what it takes for the infection, I think, to lock in. Let's hope and pray, as we all do, that it'll work and we will see us returning slowly to work.
Have you had more traffic on the road? Have you noticed any more traffic?
Well, I don't really go out, so I don't know whether there's more traffic. But it has been reported that someone reported it looks like it's gone back to normal. But there is some interesting aspects to this coronavirus, and that is what we spoke before about, is the nature, how the environment has healed partly healed itself. And it's interesting that I got a film sent to me yesterday of dolphins in Portabanús. Now, certainly that's something we've never seen before. Add to that cows and bulls on the beach in Tenerife, and peacocks walking through the main street in Madrid. This we've never seen before, and interesting that is.
Well, it's the wild boar. Not talking about you now.
You were talking about yourself there, wild boar. Anyway, a few subjects from the postcard I'd like to read out to you that I sent you, and I think we can start somewhere, wherever you want to start on the postcard.
Well, I listen, such a lot is going on. We've never had a time of news, and I'm convinced myself that it's the media that's done all this so that they can raise more money through adverts. And Project Fear springs to mind. Now, everybody's frightened to death. They don't know whether to wear a mask or not wear a mask. What's your opinion?
Well, look, I'm of that age category, although don't argue with me that I don't look it, but I'm of that age category, which is the risk age. I think they call the risk age, and there's a high risk age and there's a higher risk age. And if I do go out, I have just ordered, do you remember those cheap plastic Macs that you wear, the see-through ones?
Yes.
£2. Well, I've ordered one of those. I have a mask and a hat. And are you looking at me, or are you looking at something else? I'm looking at a mask and a hat.
I'm trying to stop yawning, Maurice. I mean, this is the truth. I'm actually reading something. You can see me on a little monitor. I'll explain that. I'm actually reading something that he sent me. And he's such a professional. He writes through WhatsApp. And you can't do anything with WhatsApp when you want to put it in a script, because it flies everywhere. So I have to take the phone. Now, the phone's going to ring, and he's going to have an epi if the phone rings, but it's his fault. I just point that out in passing. You may carry on, sir.
We don't want the phone to ring. Okay, so as you know, as I say, I haven't been out, and I can't really tell you if it's getting busy or not, but I assume that it is busy. But
Maurice, why are you going out? Are you Project Fear yourself? Why are you staying in?
I'm Project Fear. Terrified.
All right.
Terrified. Not like you. You don't care. I care. I'm a talented young man, and I want to make sure nothing happens to me, and I'm protecting myself. Plus the fact that I'm a well-known hypochondriac, and every time I cough even now, I feel like it's not too good. I worry about it. Can we talk about one great man and put you aside for a moment? And let's talk about Captain Tom Moore.
Absolutely.
99. He's up to £18 million now in his collection, and I think this is something that we should salute, both of us.
Right.
Great man. He's going to be 100 at the end of the month, and we're all going to celebrate that 100. So may I just take this opportunity of being on this great TV station, and to all three listeners, wish an early happy birthday on Moore.
I'm going to correct your figures there. It's 3 viewers, Maurice, not listeners. You're still in radio mode.
Man, I do apologize. I am a radio man. Right. You asked me earlier on what I've been watching TV, because we're locked in, of course, and I hope that on my postcard today that I can tell a few listeners a little recommendation of what I'm watching. And this week, a very interesting ITV series, a 3-part series done one night, which I love. I hate when a series is on television, 6 or 8 parts, or 10 parts, whatever it is, and the first one's on a Monday night, the next one's a week away, or 2 weeks away, and blah, blah, blah. This was 3 days in a row. It was called The Quiz on ITV, and it was a true story about the coughing major. You remember that, the coughing major who, God, he wouldn't have gone down well now with coronavirus, but he won $1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And they found out, or they accused him of cheating, because in the audience was someone coughing with the answers. I mean, if he said if it's A or B, and he said B, and he'd know to go for it. It was a very well done. The guy who played Chris Tarrant is the same actor, I wish I could remember his name, who also played Tony Blair. Absolute brilliant method actor. He got all the mannerisms of everything of Chris Tarrant, and the whole show was excellently done. He was found guilty. He got a small prison sentence, and 20 years on from that big story, the case is opening again. He didn't look guilty on it at all. There you are.
Right. Well, listen, I've got some statistics about our Project Fear, and some amazing statistics that are now coming through. And the only ones that
scaring me, Ronnie. You're going to start scaring me because I'm out of here.
No, I'm going to comfort you in your obvious need, Maurice. Okay. And there's only one statistic you look at, is that when somebody gets the thing and either stays at home or in great fear and trepidation goes to hospital, because lots of people are staying out of hospital and shouldn't be, and that may be killing more people than the virus. But anyway, if you go to hospital, you get treated. There's a graph that shows in each country in the world, those that start treating, what percentage survive. And I'll give you an example. Here in Portugal, 3% actually die having been taken to hospital for the cure. And in Spain, 13 people die. That's a heck of a difference. It's the same in the UK. Now, everybody has a go at Trump, especially you. But let me tell you some truths, because you don't get the truth about Trump. You go on to the American site, and the American site is more truthful than any other site in the world. Why? Well, very simply, they don't cheat on their figures. Britain do. They don't put the old people's home, which is responsible for a lot of deaths. But they do all over America. And when you hear New York is terrible, well, it is. But I'll tell you what, it's only 6%.
Rodney, what's this got to do with what I watched on television last week?
We've moved on. We've moved on, Maurice. Listen, mate, I've got a special button here, and I can hear snoring because you know the television sets these days. They can hear what you're saying and speaking, so we get feedback. And I was fed up of the snoring. That's why I moved on. Now, even though you don't like President Trump, do you know that most cities and towns in the US have a 2 to 3% death rate?
Hold on a minute. I never said I didn't like him.
Oh, you said to me, in the green room. Oh, you said. Now that means I don't like him.
Yeah, no, listen, hold on a minute. As a president, before this outbreak, this horrendous virus, he's doing a good job with the economy, etc., etc. But he was never claimed to be a politician. And the problem is that he doesn't have the manners of a politician. He doesn't have the personality of a politician. He doesn't lie like a politician. He's purely a businessman. So that worked fine before this virus. But now he's facing this horrendous thing. He's got to act like a president. And that's where it falls down with Trump. He's not acting like a president.
Well, I suppose you'd even criticise Ronnie Reagan when he was, he's an actor. He'll be no good. And he was brilliant.
Ronnie Reagan, I'm too young to remember Ronnie Reagan. That's more your era.
Not that long ago. Not that long ago. Well, come on. These are the statistics of the reality that are hidden from most people. And what gets me is the lies. Let's use the proper word, lies. Never mind disingenuous and other euphemistic phrases or words.
Euphemistic. I've never heard you use such a big word. That's what you were looking up when you were looking down. Euphemistic. What a big word for you, Rodney.
Well, it's all right. Listen, I would normally ask you to spell it, but I know how dyslexic you are.
You asked me to spell it. One of my weaknesses, which I have many of, let me tell you, is I'm not very good at spelling. Look, we're talking about the virus. I want to sort of move a little bit. We're talking about the virus, and I've always believed that the only way that people of your age will get out is when there's a vaccine available. And there is an experiment going on right now. It's in the British press at Oxford University, where they're testing a vaccine. And a woman has come forward. I believe I put her name in my postcard to you.
You did.
Who's come? She's 44-year-old as a human guinea pig. Now, the question I asked, Rodders, look at me. Look, you mentioned.
Well, I'm just trying to help you out, Maurice, and I'm going to say, Mrs. Heller. Is it?
The question.
It's Haller. I'm sorry, it's Haller.
The question that I asked on my social media outlet is, if the vaccine, as Bill Gates said, was available in a year or 18 months, but there is no guarantee of the side effect, which would probably take 2 years to find out after the vaccine has been administered, would you risk it and have the vaccine? Yes.
Well, you would risk it, I know. It depends how bad you feel. It's up to the doctors. Listen, if you're on a vent machine and you know you've only 1 in 3 chance of coming off it.
Rodney, you're getting it wrong here. I'm saying tomorrow, if they said you could all go out, and you're feeling as well as you look, or you don't look that great, but you're feeling well. Okay, like me, I'm feeling well. I don't feel sick. I don't feel it. And they say tomorrow you can go out. There's a vaccine available that will protect you, but there's no guarantee of the side effects, and that will take probably up to 2 years before you'll know how the side effect will affect you. Would you take one? A simple question.
Well, I said before that if I was bad, I'd take one. But who do you?
You're not bad. Could you not get this man off the television? Yeah, I'm saying if you're not. Listen, if you're not bad, Rodney. If you're not bad.
No. Let's talk the truth. You've mentioned Bill Gates. Do you know, Maurice, the background is horrendous. He's got pals in every pharmaceutical company going. It's in his interest to come out with, dare one say, a lot of rubbish that's been coming out with him and his friends.
Come on. He warned, I wrote about this also during the week. He warned 5 years ago, that great speech, you can see it on YouTube, there is going to be a pandemic. We must warn you there's going to be a pandemic. Governments must prepare for it now. He said that. Obama said it 3-4 years ago. The speech is on YouTube. There's going to be a pandemic. And interesting here, they said that the governments need to prepare now to be ready for a pandemic. I believe and I feel that the governments, we all know, did nothing. And therefore, should I sue the governments for putting my life in danger?
That's a good question. We actually put out that program, Bill Gates. He's bound to get something right once in a while. So, yeah, he was right.
Right. He's the richest man in the world. What are you talking about? We wouldn't be speaking here if it wasn't for Bill Gates.
No, listen, being rich doesn't make you right. Rich doesn't make you right.
How did he become rich? By being right.
No, he became rich because he was a computer geek. They're a different animal to the rest of us. They live on a different planet.
You're a jealous little man, aren't you? How would you love to swap your life for Bill Gates. First of all, you'd be 20 years younger, you'd be fit, and you'd be a little bit richer than you are right now.
Oh my goodness me! Well, I don't know. Do I want a third Rolls Royce? I don't think so. I've got enough.
Rodney, your dear wife has been push-starting that car for years. It's time you got a new one. Anyway, so well, let's just have a look at one thing here. Do you remember that song? I mean, you'd remember it. Well, to you, it was a pop song. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when.
Oh dear, go on.
But great Vera Lynn, Dame Vera Lynn is 102 right now, which is a year younger than you, my dear man. Now, the interesting thing is that song has gone to #1 on the charts again, 60, 70 years on, recorded by the great beautiful Catherine Jenkins. Interesting thing here, if the Queen, in her speech that attracted, I think, 20 or 30 million people, wonderful, uplifting speech a couple of weeks ago, she finished it with those words, "We'll meet again." And because she used that word, there's been millions of records sold.
Well, that's the power of commercialism. I'm a little sanguine about things like that. Let me tell you, Her Majesty, and here goes my knighthood out the window, has been roundly criticised by quite a lot of people.
Knighthood.
And I'll tell you, I shall tell you why, Maurice. Basically, she's head of the Church of England, and she barely mentioned anything churchy. It was all, well, lads, let's gather together.
Why, Rodney, would the Queen in her speech to all religions and all nations, why would she start talking about the church? Rodney, think about this. One day you'll make a radio presenter, but you must remember, to all the audiences, not just the church audience.
I don't want to be a radio presenter. I mean, I look at you, Maurice, and archetypal radio presenter. I'll stick to television where people can see me, and you hide behind a microphone. After years of trying, I've actually dragged you out from the microphone, and you're passable.
Listen, I was always told I had the perfect face for radio.
But
dear Rodney, now that I've come out of my little burrow, I suggest maybe you should go back behind the microphone and leave it up to me. There you are. I've always been asked this question. Would I rather television versus radio? I've often been asked that question. And here's how I answer it. On radio, I'm a great radio man. On radio, you don't need to use expression. Now, let me explain that to you. It's a big word for you, but you don't have to use expression. So if I know that a guest of mine is lying on radio, if you are good enough, you can be able to use the pause. So if you said to me, I'm Rodney Hearth, I have 1 million television listeners, I would go,
viewers,
stop for a minute. You're not meant to interrupt. So if you're Rodney Hearth and you say to me, I have 1 million viewers, TV viewers, I would answer that on radio like this. Really? Now that's a professional pause. On television, the same thing would happen to me, but I had the guy, I can't remember his name, who said he wrote The Deer Hunter. And I had it in my ear, that's a lie. He said to me, I said to him, what was it like at the Oscars? You four must have been sitting there, were you? And he could see that I was onto it. And I looked to the camera and I went,
the stern glare.
Yes.
The camera finds you out, Maurice. People can suss the camera. Your
Absolutely.
inner self comes out.
On radio, if you're clever enough, you can use the professional pause. The problem is you've got to have the guts to do it, and you've got to know exactly when to finish that pause.
Well, I've got something better than a pause, or even a pause button. I have got a computer, and we're on this computer, and I've got a button I can go like that and do two things. One thing is to cut you off in mid-course. I wouldn't do that to you, but I might do the second thing because there is a program, software, especially, that puts a paper bag descending slowly over the guest's head. It comes down over the guest's head. I'm tempted, Maurice.
My wife would give $1 million for that book. When I was on the radio, people would say to her, how do you listen to it? She said, what? Listen to it? But there's one thing that she was always angry with, not angry, but annoyed with me. I would come home from a radio show and sit down and she'd say, Maurice, do me a favor. Stop talking about our private life on the radio. Oh. My friends phoning me saying what we did last night and what we rowed about and what we didn't row about. You put it all on the radio. You know, would you? And that really upset her a little bit. But of course, I continue to do so.
A brave man. How Wendy has suffered over the years. Maurice, our time has gone. Again, it's been such a pleasure. And we shall...
You're a lucky man, you know. It's not often people can get me at the sort of fee that you got me for this show. For sure.
Yes. There are more zeros on the fee I pay you than you can imagine.
It's only zeros. Anyway, Rodney, it's always been a pleasure to speak to you in Portugal. I must say one thing, if you don't mind me saying, that the background hasn't seemed to change. That cloud was there the last time we spoke, and it's there again today.
It's springtime. We get our rains in springtime.
You like the painting behind me?
Oh, that's very nice. Yes, yes.
That's by Alfredo Roldan, that painting. It's a beautiful painting. And next time I might give the viewers a tour of my house to show my art collection. Maybe. We'll have to see. That zeros will have to fill up with a few real numbers on it to do that.
Oh, yeah. I've seen his toilet. It's full of these paintings, all in the toilet. But we'll take it in. Thank you, Maurice.
There is a painting in the toilet, to be honest. Okay, so I must go water the plant behind me. So ta-ta to all your listeners from the Postcard in Marbella.